Imagine the face of Jesus Christ. The truth about what's happening in Bethlehem, and it's a reality the mainstream media is too terrified to broadcast. Let's get into the receipts.
I think a lot of Americans, and particularly American Christians, were shocked to see the image of an IDF soldier smashing the face of Jesus with a sledgehammer. I don't think they knew that that could happen. I don't think they understand why it happened. Were you surprised by it?
No, because the settlers have been vandalizing our Christian symbols multiple times. They have been spitting on our priests and writing bad words on the churches. So I'm not surprised. And this is not the first time.
Why do you think they're targeting churches and priests and Christian villages?
They don't like Christians. They hate us. It's all propaganda because the population of the United States are mostly Christians and they want their side. So if the U.S. Christians know how the Christians, the indigenous Christians from Jesus' bloodline, how they live here, they would change their mind.
Next, we have to look at what Alice calls the Great Rebrand. This is where it gets truly sinister. She argues that there is a massive, well-funded effort to promote Islamophobia in the West for one specific reason: to act as a smokescreen. Think about it. If the American public believed this was only a fight against radical extremists, they'd keep the checks coming. But if they realized that the indigenous Christians of Bethlehem, people who have been there since the time of the apostles, were having their homes bulldozed and their land annexed, the support would vanish overnight. Alice is telling us that our fear is being weaponized. They want us to look at the Muslim neighbor as the enemy, so we don't notice the bulldozer taking the Christians' land. It's a spiritual shell game where the prize is the West Bank and the casualties are the followers of Christ.
It's a little bit surprising because in the United States, we're told that the enemies of the state of Israel are Muslims, and that Israelis, and that would include the IDF and settlers, are allies with the Christians, have a lot in common with the Christians, and this is really a war against radical Islam, Islamists, jihadis. But you're saying that they hate Christians. Why do you think that is, and how do you know that?
Because in our land, I don't know if you're familiar with the Al-Makhrur story. They have invaded our land in 2024, which is after like more than 15 years of struggling with the civil administration and with the settlers and with settlers companies trying to take over our land and demolishing our properties there. They took advantage of the war after the 7th of October, and they invaded the land, and they have broken the statue of Virgin Mary. They have broken also the icon, the picture of Virgin Mary. They have vandalized the cross.
First, let's talk about the image that should be on every front page from New York to Nashville, but isn't. Alice reports a horrifying scene. A soldier, armed with a sledgehammer, systematically destroying an image of Jesus. For years, the American public has been told that there is a civilizational alliance in the Middle East, that we are all on the same side. But Alice Casilla is pulling back the curtain on a brutal reality. She's documenting the destruction of crosses, the vandalism of icons of the Virgin Mary, and the daily humiliation of priests. This isn't just collateral damage of a war. It's a targeted assault on the indigenous Christian population. When you realize that the very people we are told are our allies are the ones swinging the sledgehammer at the symbols of our faith, you have to ask yourself, who are we actually supporting?
I have also videos on my Instagram, on my social media. People can see that. I have been recording everything that they are doing, but they are doing this propaganda in order to raise Islamophobia in the Western countries, in order to take over the Palestinian lands and to annex the West Bank in the name of Islamophobia. But as Christian, I was born in Palestine, in Bethlehem, and my neighbors, my cousins are Muslims, so I don't see that there is a really problem with Islam. It's the extremist people that are the problem.
Finally, let's look at the reality of Bethlehem. The media wants you to believe in an eternal clash of civilizations, Christians versus Muslims. But Alice, who was born in the very city where Jesus took his first breath, says her neighbors and her own cousins are Muslim. They aren't the ones knocking down her door. She highlights the Al-Makrour incident, 15 years of legal warfare ending in an invasion and the total demolition of property. This isn't a religious conflict, it's a land grab. She is fighting for the survival of a community that traces its bloodline back to Jesus himself. When the world is told to cheer for annexation in the name of security, Alice Casilla is standing in the rubble of her family's land, asking why the world has turned its back on the living stones of the Holy Land. The question isn't about religion anymore. It's about the truth.
So in each religion, we have those extremist people. We cannot refer to some religion that it's extreme or terror because of their extremist people. But I think it's all of it because they want to annex the West Bank.
So, is Alice Casilla an activist for the truth? Or is the reality of the Holy Land more complicated than we've been told? After hearing her story, can you ever look at the headlines the same way again? I want to hear from you, especially if you're a person of faith. Is the Western Church being played? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that sub button for the deep dives the gatekeepers don't want you to see. I'm out. Peace.